Okay, whenever I first started this series and I sent out a sneak peek email that I was going to be talking about all of these things, I had somebody respond to me and say, I hope you're talking about AI. And I responded, yes, I am. And so that's what we're going to talk about in this video, how to stand out as a food photographer in an AI-driven world. So AI is here to stay. The cat has been let out of the bag. They are not putting it back in. Like, AI is here. Are they working on regulations around AI and how people use AI content? Yes. If you were up with that, comment, keep me updated, let me know what you know. But here's the thing. A lot of photographers are a little fearful about their role as photographers. Are people going to just start using AI for everything, photography included? And while AI can reproduce a lot of technical aspects of photography, there are elements that it can't replace, and I don't think it will ever replace. So before I kind of get in and talk about how you can leverage, your unique skills to stand out, I want to go back to several years ago, whenever it was film photography only. And then we had the rise of digital cameras, and more people kind of flocked to using a digital camera. It allowed us to get our photos faster. We didn't, need to go to the Walmart film lab to drop off our film and have them, wait 3 days to get our film back. We were able to get our photos at our fingertips. And a lot of photographers at that time adopted the shoot and share methodology, and they moved away from prints completely and were giving their clients all of the digital images from the shoot. So now they can get 1,000 to 1,500 photos from their wedding, whereas before with film, maybe they got 20 to 50 photos. It was nowhere near what it is now. So with that change, I want you to think back to how the film photographers were feeling, right? And for some of you, you might remember that, or you might have been one of those film photographers. I know I've talked with film photographers about this change from film and buying digital prints to the whole shoot and share method. And then fast forward a few more years is that now everybody has a camera. Everybody has a camera on their phone. Everybody's got a camera. If you have a camera, that makes you a photographer. Did you know that that's all you needed was just a camera? And that's what makes you a photographer, right? It's ridiculous. It's so far from the truth. There's so much more to photography than using a camera and having a camera in your hand. Anybody can have a camera in their hand, as you know. But just because you have a camera in your hand doesn't make you a photographer. So when we saw this change in photography, there were challenges that people faced, the challenge to go from print to digital. But I want you to think of what that change has allowed for so many more people. If we were still stuck with film, I would probably not be here. And you would probably not be here. So while, if you think back to those film photographers, and yeah, they were probably frustrated and they were concerned and they were worried about the rise of digital cameras, I want you to think back to, number one, the opportunities it has provided for more people like me and you. And two, I want you to think about the client experience and how the client experience and how we have served people better has changed because of how we have moved from digital to film. You think about that? And I think that with the rise of AI and how that is affecting not just photography, industries worldwide, that this is a tool that is not going away. Just like digital cameras did not go away. They did not go away. They've actually created more opportunities for more people. Okay, and I know you're saying, Melody, AI is a little bit different. It is different, but AI is still a tool. Like I shared, it can duplicate some of those technical aspects, but there are elements that it just will never be able to replace. I went to a YouTube conference a couple of months ago, and I heard somebody talking about AI and how she uses AI in her business. And she said, think about it like this. She said, if you were a CPA and QuickBooks came out, CPA was all pen and paper. It was all pen and paper. But then when QuickBooks came out, if they didn't adapt to QuickBooks, they more than likely went out of business. I do not know a CPA that still does pen and paper. QuickBooks allowed them to do more work faster. They got more clients. It actually bettered the industry. And so I would challenge you, if you are sitting there in a corner terrified of AI, why don't you start thinking about the opportunities, which I bet you've never even considered, that are going to come about because of it. So that is just a different perspective that I want to remind you that there are always and have always been changes and advancements to technology. That is what is so wonderful about the world that we live in, is that we have access to it. It's pretty amazing that we are not just all living out in caves and trying to figure out fire. Like, technology has advanced since the beginning of time. It is here to stay. So what are you going to do to make sure that you stand out? Okay, so the first thing is to emphasize creativity and some storytelling, because AI might be able to do well-composed photos. Honestly, I even question that, but it's going to lack storytelling. And I think for storytelling, you really need to have that human element, okay? You can push the bounds of creativity. You can be a creative in a way that AI cannot be. Number 2 is, this is where building relationships with clients has never, ever, ever been more important. You've got to build strong relationships with your clients, and don't just provide value in your product. Okay, your photos are not the only thing that brings value to your client. The way that you serve them and who you are should bring value to your client. 3 is make sure you're focusing on the quality and the details, because while AI might be great for quantity, it can't always capture the details that a human can. The last one is adapt and innovate. Like I said, it's not going anywhere. You can use AI to help with your editing. You can use it to help with your workflow, with research. It's really great for idea generating. It's not perfect. It's definitely not perfect, which is why it just cannot replace everything. You have to have that human element to it. Like, I will use it, and to be honest, I used it to help me outline and prepare a lot of the videos for this series. Without it, there's no way I could have kept up with the demand of 30 videos in 30 days. But you can tell through a lot of these videos required a human element. It required my personal stories. It required me being here in front of the camera for you to be able to connect with. Now, a warning with AI, though, is that, like everything, people use the tools for good and they use it for deception. And so it is important to be on guard. There are so many fake recipes going around on Facebook and on all of these social platforms, and you can pretty well tell whenever it's fake, but there's some people who don't know that it's fake, and I just feel so sorry for them, because they make the recipe and then wonder why it hasn't turned out the way that it did. And I'm like, it's a fake recipe. And so while it helps us do more work, okay, and while it helps us to work faster, we also have to be careful of the deception. And that's why that human element, like, people now more than ever, because AI is out there and they're like, is this real? Is this not? Connecting with people is now more important than ever. Continue to build relationships with people. add value. Focus on the details. Focus on the quality of your work. Use AI to increase your workflow and to take some of the pressure off. Lord knows it's helped me. But don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of it. And especially, do not let it keep you from entering in a field that you want to. This is what frustrates me more than anything whenever it comes to AI, is they see and they hear AI and they hear how people can use it for photography, and so they just wash their hands of it and they never enter the field to begin with because of what they think and they assume. And you know what? Maybe they don't belong in the field. If you're going to find excuses from the very beginning, it's probably best that you never pick up the camera. Because there's always going to be challenges. There's always going to be challenges. We've talked about a lot of them. You can still be a successful photographer and you can still stand out in an AI-driven world. All right, you guys, let's start a discussion because I want to know in the comments what your thoughts are on AI. I'll see you in the next video.